Hey everybody, welcome back. It is the Fantasy Rugby Yanks. My name is Jared Dyke.
I'm Ben Glauser.
And James.
I'm back again.
Yay!
We still somehow keep you here. I don't understand how.
Yeah, but this time we are somewhere in the middle of the smartest part of I'd say Cambridge, Massachusetts.
Yeah. We record just outside Boston, Massachusetts many times. Now we're literally just outside Boston, Massachusetts.
It's a place called MIT. It's a lot of smart people work at MIT or study at MIT.
It's a brain institute that we're in.
Yeah, we all need a brain institute.
I was worried that when I was coming here that you were gonna, I don't know, strap me down and have me studied or something.
Work in or something.
Yeah, I was like, I'm not sure that I trust this place, but
that's all right. Can't say I blame you there. Let's crack some beer.
Don't have to ask me twice.
Yeah, right. No glasses, but that's all right. Everybody, make sure you check us out on Google Play, Spotify, iTunes. Download, rate us, all that good stuff. So, before we get too far into it, we have to acknowledge the unfortunate incident that happened in Christchurch this past week, and we just want to send our sympathies and our thoughts to everybody down in Christchurch, New Zealand, and hope that you guys are doing well, and we're thinking of you up here. Just awful stuff, and I turned on that first match on Friday morning, and you had just texted me that, and I said, no. I was like, oh, crap.
Yeah. I mean, I woke up to seeing that picture of the guys in the circle from the Chiefs Hurricanes.
Oh, yes.
That I sent to you, and I was like, all right, what happened? You don't see that normally pre-match.
No, not normal.
It's sad for a city like that dealt with the earthquake in 2011,
right.
just before the World Cup, that really took a toll on the city. And then for something like this to happen, which you usually see, unfortunately, in the U.S., to happen in a country that, generally everybody is very happy,
right,
and gets along very well. Everyone comes from, a different part of the earth there. Yeah. The Maori, the English, whoever. So unfortunate to see, but incredible response by the rugby community, the New Zealand government. So it's great to see.
I've heard, we'll touch on this only briefly. I've heard name change for the Crusaders. I don't know what it is, what's good, what's bad. Sam Whitelock came out and said something. I don't know what he said though. I'm not sure what it is that was said about it, but it's I can understand the topic only because people are obviously trying to be very sensitive to what's occurred, but I mean, I guess it's up to the franchise, really. I think in most cases, with the exception of a couple of franchises around here, they'll do the right thing. I think this is a place that's going to do the right thing. If they truly believe that a name change is required, I don't think this organization is going to screw around in either case. But it's not something that I think is something that needs to grab headlines over everything.
Yeah,
else,
I'm surprised to hear it, but I'm also not surprised that a New Zealand-based rugby team would do something like that, or at least start considering it. So,
yeah.
Well, what they'd do is they'd solve this issue way better than we do. They'd commit to it if they're going to change the name, and that'll be it. There'll be no more talk of it, and they'll just focus on the rugby.
Yeah. That's the hope, right? All right. Well, lighter note. Our guy in the middle here just had a birthday.
Oh, yeah.
Happy birthday.
One of those. Yeah, thanks. Last in the 30s.
Yeah, cheers to you, buddy.
That, and it was also St. Patrick's Day this past weekend.
Yeah.
So,
dear Lord St. Patrick.
Those two always kind of fall
do
in
they
line
really?
right near each other.
Man, I wonder, even on leap years? What a weekend to be in this city. Some incredible rugby that happened in this city, not to mention the Six Nations. All I can think of, though, when St. Patrick's Day happens is that episode of The Simpsons where Bart gets super, super drunk
oh, yes.
out on the street, and they prohibition goes into law at Springfield.
Effects, yeah.
That is maybe the best episode.
Really?
That's one of my favorite episodes, for sure.
I've never been to Southie during the parade, but I have heard horror stories.
Yeah, I have too.
And it was pretty exciting to see the New England Free Jacks and the Connacht rugby team got to march in the parade, and I'm sure
that was cool too.
They were accosted by all the young ladies and light
expected.
refreshments.
Well, I'm sure all the Connacht players were being swooned
They were
over.
loving it.
Make people melt.
Yeah, half those kids think they're really Irish, but then they met the Connacht rugby team, and those are real Irishmen.
Yeah, there you go. Stick that in there. All right. So quite the finish to Six Nations. It was it was a couple of fun. It was at least a few fun matches. One kind of ugly one, but the rest of them, the other two were kind of fun.
I enjoyed all three personally. Although, yeah, that first one, Italy France, kind of frustrated me, but it was still enjoyable. It was still somewhat close.
Yeah. No, that was the one match I was actually really into. Yeah. Because I wanted Italy to win.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I was so rooting for Italy to win.
Waking up to live rugby on TV, that's something I don't think I've done in a very long time, especially here. So it was pretty exciting to not only, I don't have the cable package for NBC Sports, but I streamed it on my computer.
Yeah.
And I didn't have to pay for anything. And I didn't have to illegally stream it. So just that happening was pretty exciting. But that game, I feel bad for Italy. There were two of those try-scoring opportunities that they completely muffed.
Mm-hmm.
And there are a couple penalties that Tommaso Allen should have hit, or conversions, I can't remember. But if those had happened, they would have won that game.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. No, and I was thinking in my head, I was like, I wonder if they're going to bring McKinley on to take kicks from Tommaso Allen, because I think he's a better goal kicker than Allen is.
And he has one eye.
Yeah.
Yeah, what does that tell you? But Italy, they had it. They had it in their grasp. 14-25 to France.
They're close.
Yeah,
it's not as, we've
not
been hearing all of the talk about relegation. And,
I can't believe that's still coming up again.
Yeah, just stow it.
Yeah.
They beat Georgia, so that conversation should end.
That conversation should be over.
And they gave England a bit of a scare. Like, at least they were with them. They were like little,
and Ireland.
Yeah, and
Ireland. They got Ireland.
Not
a hell of
England.
a game. And it's like they're not that far away. It's just there's a little bit of extra class that's in some of these other teams.
Yeah. What do you make of Clive Woodward's comments about Conor O'Shea and he shouldn't be smiling? And I was like, really, dude, really?
I don't know. Yeah, it's. I didn't hear them personally. Oh, almost lost the microphone there. I didn't hear them personally. Didn't read anything about it.
Yeah, it was
but I don't know. That was Sergio Parise's last Six Nations game. It was at home. It was in Italy. I think there is. They should be proud of the way they played. Not proud of the result. I don't think it really speaks to the way that game was played. Italy, who also was it Campagnaro that went off injured as well?
I think so. Yeah. Well, they were decimated in the centers from the England game.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Didn't play.
That's right. Yeah,
I think that's what it was.
So who was there? The hooker that is.
Gialdini went off with a knee injury.
Exactly, and that's not good to see, especially with the World Cup.
Sad. I felt so terrible about that.
So, I don't know. It was almost all too familiar with France letting this happen. They've got some bright young stars there that you really want to see succeed, and they got lucky. Yeah. And that's all I really can, I guess, say about their performance. Damien Penaud, it was a one-man show for him.
Yep.
Uge scored another try. He's obviously he's a great takeaway for that team. But other than that, something's not clicking, and they need to figure that out really soon, because every World Cup, France is always a pretty dominant team. Somehow they're in the quarterfinals, semifinals. And they're going to do themselves a disservice if they continue to go in this direction.
Right. Well, we talked about it. Like, France in tournaments have one. They have one in their hat somewhere. They pull it out, and it looks amazing. And then the rest of the time, it's like, So.
Well, they don't, and we've been talking about it the whole, all through this this tournament. That France they don't play 15 as one. They play basically 15 individual players, and if it works out, it works out. And every so often they'll say, you know what, fuck it. That's their one game where they say, okay, we're going to really just work with each other here, and fuck it, let's go for it.
Right.
And I think that it's also a different atmosphere in the World Cup. So that difference between World Cup versus, say, Six Nations.
Yeah, we'll see what that
would be
brings.
enough for them to just pull it together and play with each other rather than just do whatever the fuck they feel like doing.
Agreed. Well, we have new Grand Slam champions. They put the red ribbons on.
I saw it coming the whole way.
All right, Jim Hamilton.
That's I mean, credit to Wales. They played a hell of a
They
tournament.
didn't do it pretty at all, but they did it.
especially
So
that first
that's the
game.
thing. Who cares?
First game against France, I thought, well, England has this in the bag. Only, and at that point too, they hadn't played Ireland yet. So I was like, you get through Ireland, they have the Six Nations, but the Welsh, they turned it around. Ireland did not do England any. And it didn't get them any favors at all. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah.
But really, though, they didn't even show up that day.
Hard to say that they did. Yeah.
And that's not something you expect from, especially this Irish team that's beat the All Blacks twice.
No, there's something a little broken in there. I don't know what it is, but it's a little off.
I don't know what it is either.
If you notice, they've been giving up early points. I think throughout the tournament, Ireland have.
Well,
at least in their losses to England and then to Wales. You get them on that back foot really early, and they can't play the way they want to play.
Yeah. I mean, because they want to suffocate the life out of the game for the most part, and then open it up afterwards. They're not looking to get flashy early; they're looking to just hunker down for a little bit. So, yeah, if you can punch them early and get ahead of them, then clearly that seems to be what gets them ahead. Anscombe with a nice little chip to. Very nice, very nice.
Yeah, that was a great chip. Yeah. I think a lot of people are saying that Johnny Sexton he's had a dip in form.
I don't know that he's had a dip in form so much as other teams are like, oh, he's just going to run to the line and then pop it off at the last second.
They just triggered him out.
Let's just hit the shit out of him, and whoever's right next to him will hit the shit out of him too.
Yeah,
like how hard is that? It does
Rocket
seem like
science.
It does seem like he only has the one move, and that's amazing to say for a player who's his caliber. But there's so few 10s that'll take the ball to the line in the fashion that he does. So that's why he's stands out in that way. Not many will do it in such a way where they are putting themselves at bodily harm. So I mean, give him credit, but obviously he's kind of run out of ideas once that's no longer a part of it. So probably needs to find another plan B in there somewhere. Yeah. So we'll see what they do between now and the World Cup, because they're going to have to do something.
Well, I think they're going to probably stick with him. It's 30.
Well, yeah, they're not getting rid of him.
Well, no, obviously that, but I mean, you have Joey Carberry, who's decent enough that could come in, at least at the end of the game, he could command it, especially if they're winning. He can play pretty well.
Right.
But yeah, he's 33. Clearly his last World Cup, I think.
If he gets to the next World Cup, he's going to be on one leg.
This tournament.
And Leinster probably have a long season ahead of them.
They're probably getting at least the semifinal of the Champions Cup.
Exactly.
So that's a lot more. That's a few more games to him.
And at some point, obviously, that now with the inclusion of the Cheetahs and the Southern Kings, they'll probably make a trip to South Africa if they haven't already.
I don't know if they have or haven't yet, but I'm sure they have one on the cards if they haven't yet.
I tell you, that was, and this is a quick side note, that was especially for the Welsh and all those Scottish teams and things like that, whoever's in the Pro 14, or whatever it's called now, the Guinness Pro, something Pro 14, like that. Yep. Getting to go down to South Africa, especially in the winter, which is their summer.
That's true.
Not bad.
Not
and they're there for like 2 weeks,
Because you got to play both teams.
You got to play both teams. Okay, I think if I'm a player, the travel kind of sucks, but that's a nice treat. And Wales and Scotland, a whole lot.
A lot.
Yeah. A little bit.
Yeah. So Wales 25 and Ireland 7. Wales claim they're, I don't know, third. Is this the third Grand Slam under Warren Gatlin or second?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to give him too much credit because I think he's just. Obviously, he's a good coach, but I've just never really liked him.
Yeah, we established that at the beginning of this tournament.
But I don't know if you guys saw that. That was the gesture from Alan Wynne Jones with his mascot when he took out to Because Ireland, who are the visitors, elected to keep the roof open, which was a dumb move. I guess they're trying to mimic Irish weather because it was awful. It was raining and it was freezing.
Yeah.
And so the visitors apparently visitors get to keep the roof open at the Principality Stadium. Almost called the Millennium Stadium. Millennium Stadium.
Close enough.
So he took off his jacket and gave it to the kid he was standing in front of him during the anthem.
Yeah, because he was shivering.
It was freezing. So that was another thing that backfired with Wales. I mean, Ireland.
Class act for Alan Wynne-Jones. He's a good human.
He is.
And he was amazing this whole tournament, and then that match.
Yeah, he's just been he's been the talisman. It's not a new thing for Wales, but it's fair to say that as he goes, the team goes. It's not outside the realm of the realm of thought, at least. So good on him. Did they announce? Have they announced the player of the tournament yet?
I don't know.
I don't think either.
He's probably up there.
Yeah, he's probably in the conversation. Him and Hadley Parks and maybe Anscombe and maybe
Johnny May scored the most tries, I think, right?
Yeah, well, couple brace and a hat trick will do that sometimes.
Yeah. But I mean, just overall, no. Yeah, I don't know.
Finn Russell.
Finn Russell?
Yeah. Oh no, he's player of the round. Sorry, player of the round.
Yeah. Don't screw with us like that. Well, perfect lead in. Let's get into that. Holy shit.
Yeah, what a game. Not to
what
mention,
game.
it was, again, so in case anybody missed it, the Wales-Ireland game was on a delay on regular NBC, which is pretty exciting. But over on, an hour later on NBC Sports, England played Scotland. I watched most of it at several bars in Boston. The first half, I was sitting pretty, drinking beers and enjoying myself.
You were happy.
Having a couple shots here and there to celebrate St. Patrick's Day. Next thing you know, they've come back. The Scottish have come back, and I'm yelling at the TV. Half these guys are thinking I'm watching the Michigan State game. Honestly, I don't care about college basketball until the tournament because it's just something to do while you're at work. But like the guys, I thought you were watching something. You didn't see what I saw. It's like, no, man, I'm watching rugby. I don't care about college basketball. So, I mean, England literally they had their boots on their on the Scottish throats the first half. Yeah. It looked like it was going to be a blowout, especially with Stuart Hogg missing at 15. It just didn't seem like Scotland were going to do anything at all.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, the second half, it was two different teams came out.
Yeah.
It's like it was Freaky Friday.
Some guy like Ben just said his name, Finn Russell. He dazzled, to say the least. He was the magic man that was making things happen for that team.
He could score interception tries like nobody else.
Good read, and he was making a lot of things happen for them. Just ordering the troops around. We were just talking about the first thing that kind of started the whole thing at the end of the first half, the McNally run run and try after the charge down from frickin' 50 meters out. I'm not sure he's used to running that type of
front row forward
distance there,
charging it down, scooping it.
He's a converted back row, thank God for his sake. So his fitness hasn't completely left him from those days, clearly.
No, it was definitely an exciting match. It had everything that you really could want. As an England fan, it was tough to watch, but as a rugby fan, it was really exciting. England coming back in the just past the 80th minute or whenever they did 82nd minute to score that try. Of course, it was George Ford, which is pretty incredible to see because I guess fresh legs come on. I don't think he's that outstanding of a player, but he stepped up. And score that try. Also, I think the Scottish defense was exhausted.
I think they were
by
too.
that point too.
You could see it. They were just like, how many more minutes?
Right. But I couldn't believe when they scored. That when Scotland went up, and it looked like England were going to lose it at Twickenham. Now the Calcutta Cup stays in Scotland because
you got to win it.
You have to win it, and they were the last people to win it.
Oh, okay.
Yep, you have to win it.
So it goes back to Ryan Wilson on Scotland. He's actually English, but he plays for Scotland. He was injured. And Danny Kerr got into it on another podcast.
Oh, really?
In a good way. They were joking around.
Okay.
And Danny Kerr said he was going to pull a John Terry and come down and put on his kit and celebrate with the Scottish team when they host the trophy because famously John Terry,
Right.
former Chelsea captain, both missed the Champions League final and the Europa League final due to yellow cards. And then when they won the trophy, he put on his kit and went down.
Yes,
and joined the rest
I
of the
remember that.
team.
I remember that.
So
that was hilarious. I was like, wait, why is he there?
Yeah.
He didn't play. What
Yeah.
the hell?
But
am I missing something here?
Yeah. But Eddie Jones said after it, he'd rather this happen now than in the World Cup. Clearly,
Not a terrible thing. Just
not a terrible
at
thing.
least.
But you come down to the last game of the Six Nations, you're missing a lot of key players, both as we saw in Scotland and England. But really, at the end of the day, England should have had that game by miles.
yeah.
Well, they
and
did
there's-
have it by my.
They had it, but
and-
they let it go.
So I don't know. A lot. Who was it? It was also Ben Foden and another former England player said, the England team have been overplayed and overtrained, and that's been the case for years. I think it's certainly the case.
That's
These
not
guys
untrue
are
by any means.
beat up, exhausted, and then they they're going to go back and play for their club.
Yep.
So
and very few clubs recognize in England how you need to rotate your guys out in and out. This is probably a biased opinion, but I think Saracens do a decent job of giving those guys as much rest as they can. Because at the same time, they know when it comes to Champions Cup, knockout, and obviously semifinals and finals, they need these guys healthy. So never mind what England's doing, they know they need these guys healthy. So they're going to rest Farrell when they feel they need to, Morrow when they feel they need to, the likes.
And
Because
you look at the Saints in the Prem Cup final, basically started their
almost their first team,
Yeah, it's like from a theoretical standpoint, you're like, what the fuck are they doing? But then they're not going to. They don't have the Champions Cup playoffs coming up. They don't have
they
all
don't
these
have
other
the
things.
same thing.
And they don't have many guys in the England team.
Right.
If
No.
any.
Loss who's been
Well,
hurt.
yeah,
Corey Noss, that's right.
And, Bigger
occasionally
was on the Welsh
James
team.
Haskell, who's maybe played one game for Northampton this year.
I think 2.
It's close enough.
I think 2. He did post a funny tweet about running over Freddie Burns, though, or a funny Instagram post. That was pretty funny.
One thing I wanted to point out, go back to the Scotland, England, is Finn Russell. Let's make sure he gets the recognition for playing with a broken fucking face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
Ow.
apparently had fractured his cheek when playing for Racing Metro.
Right, yeah.
That's why
That
he
was
was
the
out
rumor,
of the
too.
France game. People said it was a concussion. I think he said that that wasn't the case. His brain felt fine. I don't know. We're in a brain institute. I don't know if my brain ever feels fine. But he had a fractured cheek, which is nuts.
Yeah.
Pulling a Sam Burgess.
Yeah, I mean, give him 1,000,000% credit. It was a rumor, too, that he might have broken something in his face, too.
Yeah.
Turns out, sure enough, he did.
Yeah. They're made harder.
Rumor
up
very accurate.
And then maybe the last thing to say about this, I just read today that Ben Teo and Billy Vanapola got in trouble for returning pretty late to the England hotel after the game.
After the game?
Yeah. Well, they were out drinking a lot.
Well,
after the
I
game,
can't
who
say I
gives a
blame him.
Obviously, that's fine. Totally fine with that. But they were told by the hotel that they need to either get out before they're kicked out.
Oh.
Wow.
So they probably came back and were a little rowdy, I'm
Yeah,
guessing. It wasn't just the time.
Yeah,
it
and
was
good
the,
luck wrangling those two guys in.
Yeah, right. And I think obviously definitely have a couple of beers after your games, but England has had an issue. Well, English players has had an issue
Right.
with this, and so I don't know.
Oopsie.
Yeah, I just think go out, have fun, just don't be an idiot.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you got to blow off some steam, but do it positively, not.
Yeah. Trying to be a
Disruptively.
complete ass.
And one last thing from a coaching perspective, for all you players out there, a lot of times when you're down at halftime, it's easy. It's fun for a coach to say, "Hey, they did it to us. We can do it back to them." Most of the time.
Case in point.
No, you can't. This time, down 31-7. Hey, let's
see what we
let's
can
go
pull out.
Score 31
And they
points
did.
of our
They
own.
scored 31 points and a half.
Yeah.
You
So they revert. It was completely flipped in the second half. So it's possible.
Yeah. Thank you for providing me with some coaching motivation material there, Scotland and England. Yeah, so 38-38 draw. This was a week of draws. We got a couple more and draws and comebacks left and right.
A lot of sister kissing.
over the weekend. Yeah.
I was just going to say.
It's freaking Alabama out there.
Is that Arrested Development? Yeah. Kissing your sister or something? A drama? I don't know. But yeah.
Something like that. Yeah, it's weird. World Cup outlook for in general for some of these teams. Who's up, who's down?
Oh, the Welsh they're playing it up. This is what annoys me is that now they're number 2 in the world, right? None of the Southern Hemisphere teams have played since October or whatever, since the Autumn Internationals.
Yes.
So there's no real measurement of it, you know? Mm-hmm. New Zealand's going to stay at the top because, I mean, you have to beat the
defending
best
World Cup champions.
To be the best.
That happens, you know?
So, but, you know, it doesn't really tell us anything. I think what will tell us is, you know, the matches before the World Cup leading into that, how people are looking. However, saying that, it was very different 4 years ago for England. But, you know, I think England still top contender. I think Wales, if they can show up on the day, there's a good chance. Ireland, I don't know. They got to do something to fix what's going on.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Ireland have some serious questions going into it, only because of what's expected of them.
Yes.
And that comes down to, from my perspective, how can they use Johnny Sexton differently, or what can they do to change his game just a little bit?
Add a wrinkle.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think we're all three of us are pretty well read on rugby, and one of the principles in the All Blacks book is when you're at the top of your game, change your game.
Yep.
And Sexton was at the top of his game last year. I think there's no question about that. Now it's time for him to change it a little bit.
Yep.
Add something new to throw off the defenses, and he'll be right back there.
Yep, I agree. Point about Wales, though, the last team to win their respective regional competition, Six Nations, TRC, and win the World Cup in the same calendar year was England.
Dun, dun, dun.
And that was a while ago. So we'll see. They've put the targets on their back. They can no longer fly under the radar. So we'll see what kind of pressure they deal with here.
Yeah, there's a lot of rugby from now until then. There's a lot of club play, and sadly, there's going to be a lot of injuries. It's just
that's an unfortunate part of it.
The way that this game works, unfortunately.
Plus, guys getting healthy. I mean, what if Mako and Morrow are available for that match, and Courtney?
Yeah, it could have been.
That's going to be a different match against Scotland.
Definitely,
very likely.
Also, England changed up a couple of guys for that Italy game. They looked pretty hot. Obviously, everybody wants to say, they were just playing Italy, but you have to give these guys opportunities. Yep. And, Joe Kakanasinga really stepped up. Benteo started right against that. Yep. I know, going back in time here.
That's a freaking brutal midfield.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So give guys more reps, and it'll be exciting to see what happens. I personally will be seeing France play Argentina in Japan, in Tokyo.
Nice.
It will be pretty exciting.
There you go.
I may try and scalp tickets, but I feel like that's something that could get you in jail in Japan.
It might be. I don't know the laws.
I don't know. Well, like in Singapore,
might look that up.
In Singapore, if you're caught spitting on the street, you get put in jail. So
yay. So. Yeah, maybe look that up.
It's a little different from Japan to Singapore, though.
Yeah,
that's fine.
I know.
Yeah. So, let's give a nod and a farewell to certain players. Rory Best. Last Six Nations for him.
That's a tough one.
That's a
tough one to take.
That's a hard one. I really enjoyed watching Rory Best play for all these years, and I know he's a class act. And
he's 36. He's forgetting he's 36.
He's a tough SOB on top of it all.
Yeah.
Parise, I watched the post match.
Man of the match.
Yeah, right. In a losing effort, that sucks.
Yeah.
That sucks. And I saw some post match footage from Italian TV, and he and Geraldini both playing with their children, and it was just like, oh, pull my heartstrings just a little harder there, guys. Good Lord.
Plus Alan Wynn and Rory walking off the
that
pitch.
Was a freaking I don't know how many cameras were being snapped
dusty.
At that moment, but yeah, I want one of those pictures, please.
Yeah.
Somebody send me one, please. That was great. Try to think of who else. Not too many other notable names that I can think of off the top of my head. Alan Wynn, this might be his last go around as well. At least This will be his last World Cup. Maybe his last Six Nations. We'll find out. I mean, he's getting up there in age too.
Wouldn't you want to go out on top like that?
Not like, a terrible thing to do.
Is there anything better that Grand Slam and a World Cup same year? I'm not saying winning a World Cup, just playing in the World Cup. There might be time just to say, yeah, I'm done with international play.
Yeah.
At that point,
certainly a lot of guys whose last World Cup it'll be. I don't know about Six Nations, but you think of Cian Healy, Ken Owens, the older props from these guys, these stalwarts that were also part of these Lions teams that have at least some. Ken Owens maybe have 3 Lions tours underneath his belt. I'm not 100% sure.
Not sure.
But with Gatland, he would pick a bunch of them.
Right.
But always the Welshman.
Yeah.
So definitely, I think maybe 1 or 2 more years for some of these guys. Definitely final World Cup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Superlatives. Who's your breakout?
Kyle Sinclair. No, I'm just kidding.
Lies. So many lies.
Breaks out of people's grip.
Right. Breakout player. That's a tough one for me because
it's between 2 players for me, and they both wear the same color uniform.
I would say Curry.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
He's an animal.
Nice.
Are you going to say Entimac? Also.
Oh, that's it. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, he
And
played
DuPont.
really well.
Yeah, the two of those guys have to be at least in that conversation too.
Yeah.
Josh Adams has obviously made his mark, made a move as well.
Yes.
Announced today he's moving to the Ospreys, away from Worcester.
Coming back to Way Yellis.
Yeah, so Worcester are going to be digging for some new wings soon here because they're about to lose Heem and him.
Yeah, and they might. They're in relegation.
They're going to be in a scrap. Yeah, we'll get to it in a little bit here, but yeah, they're going to be in a heck of a scrap to keep themselves up here. Sounds like. All right. Well, James and I both got our ass kicked in fantasy.
Well, I was on vacation for a week,
that's true.
and then I lost track, and then I kept on living my life.
Nobody can blame you for it.
I know. It was a little deep down inside of me. I knew what was going on, but I just didn't care. But I should have.
The beer in your hand looked way more appetizing.
Yeah, drinking Medallas, which is the beer of Puerto Rico,
right.
And surfing was just way more appealing.
Right. I could set my lineup, or I could catch some tasty waves.
Yeah.
But the third man in here, Ben, second in the U.S.
Second in the U.S.
Nice. Did you finish top of any of your groups there?
Close.
You finished top of ours.
So I finished top of ours. I finished second in Fantasy Rugby Geek.
Nice.
I finished 5 in the events room competition, and 4th in the Fab Rugby.
Not bad. So.
And then 76th overall.
Yeah, and there's probably a good 300-400 people that played this thing. So,
right.
Granted, some of them went to sleep.
Well, my last rank going into this weekend was 346.
Okay,
I
so
just
you
had
jumped.
A monster. I was 9th overall in the last game week too. So
yeah, you jumped, so that helps. Yeah, so goods and bads. We some of the injuries certainly made it tough on people.
It did.
And
I had to get. I lost Morrow, Mako,
a
bunch of people.
That was
slowly
Jones, dwindled down. CJ Sander played the last game after breaking his face in the first game, so that was no help. But yeah, so we tried. we tried.
And I got fairly fortunate. I only played Levati 1 match, and it was this one.
Yeah, I played
because I had a bunch of injuries and I didn't like my matchups, and he ended up in the
team of the week.
Team of the week. So it's not just skill. There's a little bit of luck involved.
There's always a little.
Who
bit
are the go-to players you think for every week? Finn Russell.
Finn Russell was one probably.
Wingers.
Let me give you
some wingers. Like Johnny May was a pretty good start every week.
Yep.
Intamac came on towards the end.
Yes.
With a bunch of points.
He scored a try, didn't he?
He did, right? Yeah, he got that last one at the end there.
McAnally was consistent. Jamie George was consistent aside from the Italy match. Obviously.
Connor Murray was probably the best halfback in the thing.
Yeah.
Him and Dupont, either one you wouldn't have gone wrong with.
Navidi.
Yep. Abraham Stain.
Stain, yes.
That was a good one.
Also, I think this probably, even though he didn't play in the Six Nations, Dylan Hartley's last Six Nations.
Yeah, would have been his last go, but he's been banged up and knee is torn a little bit here and there. So,
yeah, I think that honestly, I think he won't be in the England Well, he may go to the World Cup. Don't know if he'll be the captain again, but I think that was his. Well,
this is
Six Nations before was his
at
last
least.
Six Nations. Anyway, sorry.
No, that's a fair point. And I forgot to put it on the docket. Let's hit it. Let's talk about the women's Six Nation. They had actually the pod had the women's captain on.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, Thompson, right?
Wait, from
England.
From England?
Yeah.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, if she's the captain. I can't remember who the captain was.
Or whoever it was. If I messed that up, then
wasn't Daly McLean? I can't remember. I thought she was the captain, but
yeah, but they had one of the players on anyway. So I thought that was great for them to bring them on.
That is great.
Keep them included.
And I got one of my predictions right. So
which one was that?
England sweeping.
Yeah,
which
they housed
everybody. Fairly easy to predict. What was not easy to predict though was Italy finishing second.
Yeah, you sent me that, and I was like, did you just send me a typo, or is that accurate?
Yeah, no, that is what happened. They took it to France, 31-12 in that last match to take second. Just
good for them.
Shocking result because, as I've said, France beat New Zealand just last year. This is a massive failure on the part of France. So apparently, when we talk about the men being so French, apparently it translates to the women
ladies
as well.
too. Apparently,
oh man,
something in the water over there.
Now France also looking through this. I'm not sure why, but they did not have one of their strong forwards, Indie. I'm not sure what happened with her. She has previously played 8, but has recently moved to lock as they've had a couple of other mobile back row players in, but she was not in the lineup this week for reasons that are unknown to me. Possibly injury. I would assume it's injury.
Yeah. Can't imagine that they would keep one of their best players out willingly, unless she's really pissed off the coach.
Right.
That's the only other thing
I'm
I can
guessing
think
it's injury because she's a fabulous player.
Yeah.
But yeah, Italy coming on strong at the end to win. Ireland I thought was going to finish third. They ended up in fifth.
Wow.
With only the one win.
That's a bit of a disappointment.
Against Scotland, yeah. Wales came in fourth. And it just kind of goes to show Ireland have a lot of talent, but they're very young.
Figure themselves out.
Young and inexperienced.
Yep.
And you can tell Italy being professional players is massive because they can train harder. We were watching the England versus Scotland this past week, which was an 80-0 win for England.
Absolute smoke job.
It was, and Scotland barely touched the ball. And you look at the difference in the players, and all of the England players just look not muscle bound, they're not Leicester Tigers. They're just fit and thick. They have functional muscles, not just powerlifting muscles.
Not Arnold.
Right.
They're rugby players.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're
all professional rugby players now too.
Right.
No,
so
it's great.
They're filling out their uniforms. They're some of the other players. You see some of the Scotland players. They're kind of hanging off of them a little bit. And it's
Get back here!
Right, little coat hangers out there. But that's something that hopefully spreads to some other nations because they play some excellent rugby. There's no doubt about it. And the pace and the power, they can take these little gaps that some of these other teams, they can hit the gaps, but if they're they can still get arm tackled, whereas England, you try to arm tackle them and it's not going to work out well for you. That's going in the try zone.
Right.
Yeah, I was watching a couple highlights from the England rugby team, and they've got great set plays that just every time they're inside the opponent's 22, they're pretty much guaranteed to score. They're clinical and they're great at it, and it'll be exciting to see. I don't know when's the next Women's World Cup?
2 years.
2 years.
2 years.
Yeah. So this year, next year technically, I guess, but yeah. Yep. So,
but the women's game is rising. It's getting better, and it's definitely pretty exciting to see.
Yeah.
I don't have a standout player. Didn't watch much of it. Don't know much about it, to be honest. But the number 8 for Wales, her name is Siwan Lillicrap, and I Love that name. So go on, Wales.
Yeah, for me though, it's always to me it begins and ends with Emily Scarrett. Just the things she can do on the pitch are magical. She can beat you with speed. She can run right through you. She can chip it right past you, and fuck, you never know what's coming. Right. So that's certainly helpful in any competition.
Absolutely.
So well done to England.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
Super Rugby. Let's get into it. We often put them at the back burner, but since Premiership didn't play this past weekend, guess what? Throw them right to the front.
Yeah.
Front of the line, Jack.
Can we talk about the news, though?
What? Oh, Sunwolves?
Sunwolves.
I hope that's a lie.
I really do, too, because this is the most poorly mismanaged professional sports organization in the entire world. The fact that Super Rugby is letting this happen. Yeah. You know, they added on these teams in Argentina and Japan to get a, broader reach across the Southern Hemisphere.
Right.
And they got rid of rugby in Western Australia, which is, well, they axed the
Western Force, yeah.
Western Force from Super Rugby. Western Force is still a team. They're playing that World 15.
Weird league, yeah.
Which will be they're playing. A quick note on that: they're playing against the World 15, which is coached by Robbie Deans this upcoming Friday. And the Honey Badger is making his long-awaited return to Rugby Union after 3 years and
good for him.
A little bit of Bachelor Australia. So it'll be great to see him back on the pitch, getting a bit of meat. But if they get rid of the Sunwolves and look at how this team has improved in the past, 3 or 4 years that they've been around.
Beat the Chiefs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They're playing really well, and it's great
in New Zealand.
Yeah, it's great for rugby in Japan and Singapore because they play there.
Right.
I think it's really unfortunate if that happens.
Apparently, the ones that are calling for it though are the South African teams, which I call bullshit.
I call that they're pissed that Japan beat them in the last
probably a little bit,
and they're taking it out on them.
Half the Sunwolves team isn't even Japanese. That's the thing,
right?
No.
But it's still fuck. For them, it's fuck Japan rugby. So that again, completely.
Yeah,
out of the loop,
I think this is. I think this is.
Outsider.
I think this is a terrible idea. I hope. It's a report out of Australia, but it's not 100% confirmed. There's supposedly going to be a statement made this weekend here. So
I think you know what it's again. There's a huge miscommunication in the admin of the rugby world with this World Rugby trying to have this World Rugby League and not include some of the South Pacific teams that really need to be brought into the picture big time to prevent some of their best players from leaving their home countries, but also just to inject some money into those clubs because they need it.
Yep.
So I don't know. I think there's a common theme of them announcing stuff before it's actually done.
Yep.
Or before someone's even thought about it.
Yeah.
And that's the case here.
Yeah. All right, so we'll talk about one game for sure, and then we'll kind of run through others and see what's on tap. Well, I didn't lose my $1.
No, and neither did I.
Damn sister kiss, dude. Ugh.
Oh, you guys, that's right. Chiefs Hurricanes,
yeah.
23-23.
Yeah. It was. I mean,
Damian McKenzie, the boot of Damian McKenzie, the little
leg.
Man with the giant leg.
Yeah, and he hit that, and it didn't even look like he hit that hard.
He didn't look like he hit that hard, and he immediately just went and grabbed the tee and was like, "Yep,
I got it.
That's good."
How cool were those jerseys too?
Oh, the old ones, yeah.
Those were
awesome.
great. They need to introduce that. I know how when the Waratahs play the Reds, they put on their old jerseys because that is a really, really old rivalry.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, come on, look at the NBA. They're throwing in these awesome throwback jerseys. Come on, Super Rugby. Throw some throwback jerseys in there. They're awesome.
Right. And I
those are awesome.
Jared and I were talking about that, and I love the Chiefs' current jerseys. I appreciate the throwbacks because you got to love a throwback.
Yeah.
I like their new. I still. I hate hoops. I don't know.
Sounds like a personal problem.
It absolutely is. It's completely personal. I have nothing against people who love hoops. I appreciate the classic look. Not for me.
Take it a step further, though. all cotton jerseys.
Oh,
like
no.
old school.
That's what it is for me. I think of hoops. I think of playing
Yeah.
in the summer in like 95-degree, 100% humidity
Gross.
in August, wearing and just no. I'm out.
Cotton jerseys.
However, that would be hilarious to see these guys. I remember when I
They're
was in high
soft
school.
these days. They couldn't take it.
Yeah, in high school we got to design our own jerseys for the end of year tournament. So every year I was hoping for finally we would commit to those the skin tight ones.
Oh, the skin
But
tight
we
ones.
never did. But there were then other teams we'd go play against that had tight jerseys. I was always pissed off at them. And I was like, guys, this is so cool. And everyone's like, no, you got to play like the old guys. But yeah, take throwback a step further. Make them thick
Make 'em thick
cotton jerseys. Those cotton shorts that when they get wet, they're 100 pounds.
Yeah, right.
So I
And
don't know.
as long as both teams are playing in them, I'm for it.
Exactly, it's fair.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, I keep talking about him, and we talked about him the other week. Chase Tiatia does it. He keeps doing it. The kid was all over the place. He's seeing the space. He's seeing it well. He's obviously got a couple of good teachers back there with the likes of Lamb and Barrett and Husin. And even the likes of Vince Asso. It certainly helps. I think he looks every bit the part, and I'm looking forward to seeing him run around more and more.
And I wanted to point out a contrast here because for me it's absolutely personal preference. We were talking earlier with England about having Teo and Tui as their centers and the just the power there. Can we talk about the two inside centers from this match?
Leonard Brown and Lamape?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because
that's a titanic duo, right?
If we're talking about
clash,
this, stylistic rugby, those guys are. I would take a smaller.
Stick the two of them together and see what happens.
Oh, fuck that! You never. Yeah, that would be amazing.
Yeah, I mean, Lamape with his power, Leonard Brown with the magic feet that he possesses.
But Lamape can run around people too, and his skill with the ball is
the terrifying thing about that.
Amazing. So as much as I'm a fan of, and I understand the appeal of the big bruising center who's just a battering ram. Give me the agile, mobile terror in the loose.
Yeah, you want one of each probably, and I'm a fan of one of each. I'm a fan of one of each at least. So
yeah, I'd like to have one bruiser somewhere in the team, probably in reserve, or somebody who you start to soften up the opposition.
Yeah, either way
is fine. But my personal preference would be to go to the guy who's going to break the line and take it to the house, rather than break the line and he'll get tackled by the scrum half, sweeping, or the fullback who's neither one of them want to, but they'll get their nose dirty just for that.
Yeah.
I'd rather have a guy who burns everyone and just runs through.
Yep. I'm just looking at the squad for the Hurricanes. They're just stacked. Question: is Wes Husin, if I pronounce it correctly, South African, but can he qualify for?
I don't think he's been capped by South Africa, so I presume as much.
He's good enough to play wing for the All Blacks.
Yeah,
and to any team really.
He's got to break through the squad.
That guy, watching him play. You got
to get behind Naholo and Ioane. That's
true.
The problem.
Yeah, that's true.
Small problem.
Yeah.
Well, then you have the other,
because then you have Barrett, and they want to stick McKenzie in there as well.
Right.
So there's they have a plotha.
And there's plenty of other young talent too. I mean, there's Lamb. There's
yes.
Who's the Crusaders?
That new one.
I know who you're talking about. Bridge.
Yeah, George Bridge.
Yes, Bridge, and then Izzy Dag's over there. Hervili's over there. They do have a plethora of stuff of talent in those positions, certainly specifically, but overall. Chiefs 23 and Hurricanes 23. We get a draw out of that. Oh well. Did you watch your Brumbies Waratahs at all?
I did not see the Brumbies toss.
Yeah, wasn't worth a lot.
Yep.
What?
No, I agree.
It wasn't worth a lot. Brumbies kind of just choked the life out of the
they're
game.
really the Brumbies are okay, but it's just not. If it's not the Rebels, it's not for me. That's what I'm saying.
Yep, I'm with you on that one. So Brumbies took care of business 19-13 over the Waratahs. Kind of the same story. It's a bigger scoreline, but Stormers 35, Jaguars 8.
Snoozer.
Yeah, bit of a snoozer. Just, Stormers took the lead and then they took the life out of the game.
And it was in South Africa? It was in Cape Town?
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah, so that was it. Highlanders Crusaders got declared a draw.
Yep.
Out of respect for everybody in Christchurch, which I totally understood.
Yep.
Sunwolves Reds. Sunwolves sure won this match.
Yeah, they really should have.
Good Lord.
Again,
I can't believe the Reds figured this thing out.
I'm starting to kind of feel bad for the Reds. Not really. Just because I'm not a fan of Brad Thorne.
Oh, yeah, we talked about that
Yeah,
already.
we talked about this. I know. I really wanted to see the Sunwolves win that. The Reds celebrated like they won the World Cup.
Yeah,
obviously it was their first win, but still, it's
that's true. They hadn't won a match yet.
Come on,
it was against the Sunwolves, and they had to make it real interesting to win it.
Queensland, specifically Ballymore, where their home turf is according to Alex, who we play with, is the home of rugby union in Australia.
Really?
That's where more rugby union is played out of all of Australia.
Okay. In theory, they should be doing better.
And at least union.
Huh?
At least union.
Union, for sure,
Yeah.
union. Rugby league is bigger, but still, they should be, with homegrown talent, they should be miles ahead. And it's not the case, and I think really it's the coaching.
Yeah. I'm gonna pat myself on the back a little bit for this though, and because I snapped up Hamish Stewart as my fly half because I had no options because of the cancellation of the other game. 3 other teams on bye. And then one of them was my guy, Robert Dupria. I'm thinking, oh no. And then Hamish Stewart's starting at fullback. I'm thinking, but he's listed as a fly half. So I was like, you know what? I'm playing him. And he scored 33. Winner.
That'll do.
I'm gonna take a big old victory lap for that one, or at least a little one.
Yeah.
So Reds 34, Sunwolves 31. Reds pulled out of the fire in the second half. Sam McCurvey obviously doing a good bit of damage in that.
Yeah,
in that
well,
thing.
he's an incredible
He's
player.
a unit.
I know the Sunwolves were dominating that whole game, and then let the Reds come back.
Amanaki Mafi made his Sunwolves debut.
Yeah.
After a little bit of running with the law.
With what's his face, Tamani, or is that someone else?
I think that's somebody else. No, I think he's out there. I think domestic abuse was part of his issue. Yeah. So I'm not going to celebrate him too much. And then speaking of another comeback, Lions 36, Rebels 33.
That was also the Rebels were clearly in front with that as well. That was a game that I paid attention to the most, obviously, because I like the Rebels.
Right.
They incredible counterattacks, especially that Quade Krupa try.
Yeah.
That came off of the Billy Meeks. Breaking a couple tackles up the line, getting it over to their hooker. I can't remember his name, but he is good.
Yes. Rangi.
Yes, Rangi.
Yeah.
He is super good. And then, Billy Meeks sticking his hand up for that gold jersey.
Yeah.
The guy's been around for a little bit. Exciting to see. That there was one try that the Lions scored that Quade Cooper could have easily stopped.
Yeah, I think that was Lionel Mapu's try.
And that's unfortunate. Yeah, it is. It was. And unfortunate to see because little things like that are going to count against him when it comes to playing for Australia.
And that's the thing people are looking for against him. They're looking for that against anybody.
They're not paying attention to the good things. They're just looking for the bad things, and they're going to nitpick, which is unfortunate because he is a player that's going to.
He's done so many great things for this team so far. Like I think it was a couple weeks ago against Highlanders. Just the no look, whoop, and got it over the top of his own head. No look for a try. And I'm like, that is magic.
Exactly.
That the Wallabies are missing.
It's going to be when he switches off, or it looks like he's not trying, or whatever it is going to count against him.
That's to be fair, that's hot weather there in South Africa.
True.
He was probably worn out just a touch at least.
Yeah.
Travel plus the weather probably did not help him at all. So I'm gonna be one of those people that cuts him a little bit.
Yeah,
slack.
For sure I am too. But he's under a microscope. I think he knows that.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But will this be the answer to the Wallaby woes? We'll see. There's so much speculation online that it's not working for Michael Check anymore, as we all know.
Yeah.
And it'll be curious. I'm curious to see. They're going to retain him for the World Cup. I think it's too.
This is not a good time to cut your
it'd be like pulling a Spain in the World Cup last year, in the Soccer World Cup.
Yeah. Terrible.
firing their manager before
just
the
'cause
tournament
he
even
took
started.
The freaking,
Yeah.
That was dumb.
So I don't know.
He got fired anyway.
Yeah, I think I'm just encourage Quade Cooper, if he ever listens to this, just keep on playing his game.
Yeah, keep it up, Quade. We like you. We're a fan. Blues Highlanders. This is Ben and I, we talk about it all the time. This is one of our favorite things. We wake up, we can roll over and turn on some Super Rugby Friday morning. So I usually get my lift in and watch the first Super Rugby match of the weekend.
And I definitely don't watch on my phone at work.
Of course not. Who would do that?
You work for one of those big companies that blocks it on your computer, so you have to go to your phone. I've worked for startups where I've had several tabs open with a bunch of different sporting events, and that'll be the case tomorrow with basketball.
Yeah, right.
Really
Oh yeah. You won't be alone. We get specific emails about that. Like, please do not choke the
Too late.
right. Choke our bandwidth with basketball because everybody's watching.
Oh, I know, right? So you want to put $1 on that?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Dollar on it. Everybody heard it. Okay. With that, who you gonna pick? Blues or Highlanders? This is actually kind of a tough one for me.
I'm going Highlanders. I don't trust the Blues.
That's unfortunate to say. I agree with Ben there.
All right. Well, here you go, Ben. You get a chance to catch up because I like Harry Plummer. I think the last time they played him at 10 instead of Terry Black, they looked a lot better.
Is it in Auckland? I mean,
it is in Auckland.
It doesn't matter though. I think when it's in New Zealand, it's in New Zealand.
Slightly different.
Yeah.
All right. So the Landers for the other two, and I'll be the lone wolf on this one. Well, no mystery as to who the hell I'm looking at.
Yeah, it's in New Zealand.
It's in New Zealand.
The Canes.
Let's see. Canes here.
Yeah.
Crusaders, definitely.
Yeah. They have a little bit to play for.
Yep.
A little bit of emotion. They have to pick up their city.
Yes. Oh, yeah. There's no question about that. I think that's something that you can't say.
But it's going to be hosted in Sydney.
Yes, it's at the Sydney Cricket Ground. But these guys are going to be so motivated to play for their team and their city and their community.
I think it's great that that they're doing work on that whatever Allianz Stadium in Sydney, giving all these teams now. They're playing in smaller venues,
yes.
which I think is way better.
Yeah, the last one at the Sydney Cricket Ground looked to be fairly packed, so that was kind of cool.
It looks like it's one hell of an atmosphere. The weather's beautiful. Everybody's out there on the beers. It's. I think it's way more of a community feel rather than this. Playing in this three-quarters empty, gigantic stadium.
That sucks.
Yeah, I really hate seeing these guys that are such high-level players, and you look around the stadium. And just because of the size of it,
it looks empty.
It looks empty, and that's not
fair
to them.
And that's the case in every Super Rugby game, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Whether you're in New Zealand, some of the smaller venues are going to be filled out, but Eden Park is never completely filled for
unless it's an All Blacks game now.
Unless it's All Blacks game, in Cape Town, Joburg, any of that in Pretoria, none of those stadiums are filled. So it's that's
tough.
I don't get it.
Yeah. Or if, or whoever plays halfback for the Crusaders, maybe find somebody else to play. Veritas don't give up a lot of points, and they especially don't give up a lot of points to halfbacks. So that's a big name to Pine, I know, but put a stop sign on that guy for sure. All right, so Crusaders all around for everybody. Stonewolves, Lions, probably Lions, yeah.
Where is this being played?
It's actually being played in Japan.
I'm gonna go against my instincts and say the Sunwolves.
Yeah, all right.
I think why not?
There you go, Sunwolves.
I think they're especially with the news or fake news. I hate that term. That's come out. I think maybe they're going to be up for it. The Lions, I don't think are as good as they have been the past couple of years.
No, and we talked about that. They're probably not the team to beat in South Africa this year.
Yeah.
It's probably the Bulls.
Yeah, definitely the Bulls. Great players in the Lions, though. Quagga Smith, that guy is.
Yep.
He's got a.
Tyrone Green looked really good last week for them too.
They have definitely
debutant.
and Quagga Smith definitely needs some. He'll get some Springbok caps.
Yeah.
But it would be great to see the Sunwolves pull this out of the bag. So I'm going to go with down.
All right.
I'm going to follow James.
Yeah, you going Sunwolves?
I'm going Sunwolves because, again, if the reports are accurate, and especially the rumor that it's South Africa that's really making the push, if I'm the Sunwolves, fuck these guys. I'm gonna throw the kitchen sink and more at them.
Right. Yeah. So what I'll do is I'll put all my my stop signs and stuff, except for the big names that I'll put those up on my Twitter as well as the rankings. Bulls Chiefs.
I think this is in South Africa. Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Bulls, man.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah.
Oh man.
No faith.
Until well, at least they didn't lose last week.
I'd like to see a South African rugby resurgence that you saw in the mid 2000s, where you were afraid to go down there, especially against the Bulls with Victor Matfield and players like that.
Oh yeah,
this is big Afrikaners that just
big blonde assholes,
scary looking guys,
beat the shit out of you for 80 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think it would be kind of cool to see some South African rugby come back to what it used to be.
Right. Brings me my green light of the week, Roscoe Speckman. Off you go. Chiefs give up a ton of points to outside backs. They're giving up a lot of fantasy points in general.
Yeah, they give up a ton to everybody.
And Roscoe Speckman is on fire.
Defense is not really their
He should be an automatic start, and if he's not, then what the frick?
Did you see him get smashed the other week?
What's up?
Did you see him get smashed the other week?
I did see that.
That was pretty cool.
Sharks Rebels. James, I know who you're picking.
Yeah, I think also in South Africa in the Shark Tank. Yeah, I want to pick the Rebels for this.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. They have
the Sharks didn't impress me the last couple of weeks.
This is they've been in South Africa for the past week.
Yeah, that's true. They didn't have to travel this time at least.
I've seen through Instagram that they've been enjoying staying on a game reserve. Quid Cooper getting physio work done in front of elephants. Not by elephants, but in front of them. Dave Wessels is South African, their coach.
Yes.
So, again, I think it's looking good.
Yeah,
I mean, look at they
should have had that game last week, too, really. So, you got to give them the benefit of the doubt that at least this time they won't have the travel to blame.
I will definitely try and tune in for this one.
Yeah. Reds and Brumbies, Sunday game.
I know the Reds really want this, but I don't think they're going to get it.
No, this is in Queensland.
Yeah, is it?
Yes.
Are they playing it at Suncorp?
I imagine that's where they're playing, but I can't.
Yeah, it is at Suncorp. Okay. I don't know. I have such little hope for them, and it's fortunate because I used to love them. I think the Brumbies are going to take this as well. Lealiofano's in great shape, and he's playing really well. So Kurandrani he's healthy.
Kurandrani? Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're
I'm assuming he plays, although some lineups are coming out probably as we speak. But I know the Blues and the Highlanders lineup has been released, so I already know some guys I'm starting at least. What you got, Ben?
I got the Reds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't trust I still don't trust the Brumbies in a match like this, and I realize the Reds are coming off travel.
Right.
So that should factor in. I
think they're going to feel
back
a little
home,
grudged after that one.
They might have their butt up after the Sunwolves gave them a scare. So
yeah, for sure. All right, so yeah, I'm going to go Reds too. I think they figure it out. Naivalu, Kurandrani, or Karevi, excuse me. Yeah, I'll give it to him. All right. Couple quick fantasy free agent finds for you in FRD. Kurabetti from the Rebels, outside back. This is not a bad week to start the Sunwolves front row if you have them and or if they're available. Sword from the Jags. Isaac Lucas from the Reds. Not a bad midfield replacement if you have one of the Jaguars midfielders on your team, and that's who you lean on. Halou from the Sunwolves has actually done really well. He was the driving force behind their victory against the Chiefs, And I said his name before, and I'll say it again. Harry Plummer from the Blues. If you need a fly half and you're in a pinch, he is not a bad option by any means whatsoever. And he actually got that Blues machine going pretty well the last time they played. All right, back to the North. Kings of the North.
Kings of the North.
I've been binging the hell out of it, waiting for the new season coming here.
What's the date? April something?
April 14th.
Yeah.
April 14th.
I'm already on season 3, so.
Yeah, we finished.
Did you guys go through again?
Oh, yeah, we burned right through
You guys could do it again if you want to,
So
I guess.
I'm not going to go all the way back. I'm going to wait until probably around April 1st and then start just the last season. Maybe the last 2.
Yeah,
Winter is coming.
No,
but
winter's here.
Not here, though.
Here.
We've missed that, which is nice.
Yeah,
I think we've definitely skipped winter.
Yeah, did we?
Yeah,
I really hope so.
Man, I hope
We
it
have.
is. I got a lot of hanging out outside to do in the next few days or next few weeks. All right, so back to the Premiership. Prem Cup final didn't go the way of the Saracens, but that's all right.
Can you
No big
explain
deal.
to me, and for those out there that are curious, what the hell's the Prem Cup final?
Is
it the old
basically-
LV Cup?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, except no Welsh.
So why do they have it for like the younger guys to play?
I presume that's what the Saracens use it for. There weren't a lot of senior players in this final. If somebody needs a run, go play in the Prem Cup team.
Yeah.
Done.
It's like the Carabao Cup in the Premiership or
See.
something like that.
Exactly.
Or the Capital One Company Cup. So,
Yeah, no one.
good to know.
As Andy Good puts it, no one gives a shit cup.
Yeah, no one does give a shit.
Yeah, nobody cares that much. Trust me. It's nice to bring the silverware home for the team that wins, but the team that loses
kind of
is
nice
not
to
losing their brain about it. I promise you. All right. So we got, as I said, we got loads to go over, but and I won't delay us too much. Your mortal enemy against my side piece, Leicester and Saints.
Yeah, that's easy. It's easy for both of us.
Yeah, it is. Like it is too.
Yeah, I'm going Saints.
Give me the Saints. Hopefully they have at least one or two of their Six Nations guys back.
Yeah, well,
Leicester will have a couple of theirs back, I'm sure.
Well, and that's the question. Do they play them? I mean,
Week
do these
off,
guys
we'll
get a
see.
rest? I don't know.
I mean, again,
I'm guessing Ford plays.
He's
He's
Ford
been pretty
will
rested.
Play.
So
Ford will probably play. Each Prem team is kind of does their own thing with them. Some see the value in the rest. Some say we need them now. Leicester could be in a relegation fight. That might be the deciding factor here. If they lose this game and Worcester and Newcastle can both find ways to get points, we could have a problem.
I don't know though.
yeah, I'm not sure that they're in too much of a danger of relegation.
I'm just telling you.
But they do have to watch themselves.
Yes.
So I agree, but yeah, I think the Saints are, there's a difference between fighting against relegation and fighting for, fighting for a playoff spot.
Yep.
So the Saints, I think, have a little bit more to play for.
Yeah.
Whereas the Leicester have a little bit more of a cushion.
Yeah. So I'm going. Yeah, like I said, I'm going Saints. My green light for a Premiership is Rory Hutchinson, young center for the Saints. Been on fire. He's scoring 30 and 40 points at a shot. They love him.
Right.
Again, there's a shit ton of youth in the Saints team,
And
which
I'm
is
guessing
what I love.
Tui's not playing. I think
What's
he'd
up?
be one of the ones that Tui's probably not playing.
Probably not. I'd
So-
say he's probably rested.
Right.
For Leicester, yeah. So that'll be advantage up
that-
as well.
yeah, that takes
and
a
Leicester
bite
gives
out
us
of
a ton of fantasy points in
Right.
general. So especially in the midfield, especially if Tui he's not playing.
Yes.
Maybe keep an eye on that.
Yeah.
That'd be the one thing to keep an eye on. All right. Bristol and Worcester.
Bears.
Yeah, I'll go Bristol too. I'm liking them.
They're just so much fun to watch.
Yeah.
As far as they.
My new best friend Callum Sheedy.
And you know how much I'm loving Harry Thacker. So
Yes. Yeah, we
but-
both are.
right.
What do you think, James? Bristol or Worcester?
Yeah, I think Bristol has this. Just looking at Worcester's current woes.
Yes.
They are plentiful.
Yeah,
they have a
I
few of
think
them.
Bristol
Yeah, they have
is
a rough run in too.
gonna take this. Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see if Worcester stays up. If Newcastle seem to have found some sort of rhythm. So they got one win, and then they squeaked away with another one against the
That's
loss.
the issue with Premiership relegation is that there's only one team every time that's good enough to come back. We've spoken about this before, to come back up.
Right.
And they're always miles ahead. Now, that one time where that didn't work was the London Welsh.
Right.
But again, they don't have the infrastructure. A lot of these clubs, they don't have the money to compete with these Premiership teams.
Yes.
You almost want to do away with it, but then there's always that one team that's miles ahead in the league below.
Right. Well, let's do pick 'em, and then we can actually get into rank fencing just a touch.
Okay.
We don't need to divulge into it too much, but let's do pick 'em, and then let's get into it. I think it's definitely worth having a chat about.
Yeah.
Gloucester and Wasp.
Side
Yeah,
piece.
I know who you took, and it's not a
But you think
fucking
I'm
mystery.
gonna
You know what? And you and I both know that I don't care about Die Young, so I'm going to go Gloucester as well. And they have all their players; they're all pretty much healthy.
Yeah.
Cipriani seems to be firing on all cylinders in the last few games. So, rock and roll, cherry and whites.
Yeah.
Last week was the Cheltenham races, by the way, which is not far from Gloucester. It's a big
People get a little.
Oh yeah, especially on
on the
like
piss.
Ladies' Day, where all these women rock up in these stupid hats and outfits and just completely just get shit faced. So they just wear nice clothes to get really wasted
And destroy them.
and it's a mess. The Daily Mail has like a field day with it.
I don't.
So
know.
I highly suggest you go online and look up Ladies' Day, Daily Mail, Cheltenham or whatever.
Man.
It is hilarious.
Writing that
Okay.
down.
Yeah, give me that. He is writing it down.
Not fucking around here.
All right. At the London Stadium, which I've been to. Cool stadium. Fun atmosphere. Saracens.
Not
and
for
Quins.
West Ham.
Huh?
Not for West Ham.
No.
Is that the one we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I went there for the World Cup.
Yeah, good for rugby, not for football.
Probably
Who is it? Saracens Harlequins.
Saracens,
That's right.
Quins.
A London derby.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know.
Quins got pummeled last round.
Oh, okay. That says a
No,
lot.
the Saracens didn't do themselves a lot of favors either, but they went to Bath and kind of just had to slog it out in some really shitty weather.
Yeah.
I think you put even if you put a couple of their England players or a couple of their Six Nations players in this, you're talking about Saracens looking a lot better.
Is Morrow going to be back?
I don't know. I know Brad Barrett is ready to rock and roll though, so
Right.
that's going to be a
I'm sure
huge help.
Tompkins will play.
Yeah, it would be Tompkins or Lazowski either way.
Yeah.
So I'm picking our boys. I'm not getting
No,
cute
I'm not
about
gonna,
this.
Not going to pick against them.
We won this game last year at the London Stadium. We'll win it again. So big call for me this week. My stop signs in this game. Joe Marchant, whose horn I have been 100% tooting.
Yes, you have.
All around the block, but with the likes of Brad Barrett staring him in the face, along with Nick Tompkins, if it's Nick Tompkins especially, who's tenacious as hell, Joe Marchant's going to have a hard time finding room to play in this one. So if he's playing, I would certainly temper your expectations on what to expect out of him.
Well, I'm already a little miffed at him because I captained him last time and he got me 12 fucking points with the captain. So
listen, I mean, I pulled in Sheedy and he didn't do a whole lot for me. So
right,
it is what it is. And then one of our co-arch nemesis here,
Clash of the Titans here.
Yeah. Dean Richards changes his mind. He wants ring fencing now.
Right.
Newcastle and Sale.
I'm going with Sale.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, playing for a playoff spot versus against relegation, and Newcastle have been. They came on their last match.
Yeah.
But that wasn't exactly against a quality opponent.
No.
And certainly not a motivated opponent. So I see Sale pulling away with this one.
Yeah. Damn it! I hate when you're right.
Yes, I think Sale's good. Sale's got some. I think their players are healthy. James O'Connell, South African guy whose name I can't pronounce.
It's called Faf de Klerk.
No, well, Faf de Klerk, yes, we know.
Van Rensburg?
Yeah, that guy.
He's a house.
No, Faf de Klerk,
the
the reverse Oompa Loompa.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Denny Solomona is healthy. I think they're good. They're gonna the Currys, both Tom and Ben.
I mean, pick one, and they're probably gonna do just fine.
Those guys are twins. Like they are twins. Rugby playing twins.
All right. Who do you think? Wait, we didn't get. Who did you think for Quins and Saracens?
Oh, I think Saracens will win.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe you said it and my brain was.
I just agreed with you.
Okay. Yeah.
Didn't need to say much.
Fair enough. And then the Sunday game, which I always love waking up for the Sunday game. Exeter and Bath.
It'll be. Oh, it's the West Country Derby, as they call it.
Yeah, well, it's not going to be much of a derby. I think.
No.
It's at Sandy Park. It's gonna. I think.
Yeah,
it's gonna
Exeter's gonna play that one.
Yep.
They're gonna win it.
As much as I would love Bath to give us a hand, it ain't gonna happen.
No. Wait, do we have any disagreements? Are we all?
No, there's some. Maybe not in this one, but there's some.
Right, in the Super Rugby, yes. But I
Yes.
think.
Yeah.
I think we went. I think we went same
in
across the
agreement
board.
The Rec is the one ground I really want to go watch a game at.
Yeah.
It just
A lot of people love it.
It looks just like it looks incredible. That's a really cool town. I've never actually been to Bath, but all that Roman history there is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And they love their rugby down there.
Yes, they do.
So.
Yes, they do. Let's go for like a 3-minute quick chat about ring fencing. So there was the last chat that was talked about was, okay, 14 teams in the Premiership, which would mean London Irish are likely included. Mm-hmm. Now for me, it's who's that 14th team, and are they going to absolutely get shithoused every time?
Oh, they definitely will.
So what the hell's the point of that?
But I don't know. I think that also just gives the opportunity for that extra club that's kind of always on the cusp of going down and going up, that doesn't have to constantly repeat that year after year, giving them a chance to. I mean, like, although look at London Irish, they've had some huge signings recently now.
Yes.
But I don't know who's it's going to be. It's going to be like Ealing Trailfinders is
Possibly.
always consistently a good team.
Jersey.
Jersey. Who else?
Richmond's usually up there.
Yeah, but these are also...
They just beat the Irish, London Irish, too.
Clubs they're tiny.
Yes.
They don't have the infrastructure. They don't have the buildings. They don't have the money. But you for rugby to grow, I think you need... I don't know. I think you need to give these teams a shot. I don't know. I think that London Welsh was such a poor example of that, and it was really unfortunate to see them just suck.
Yeah, completely. Shit the bed, I believe, was the term, and they did that in spades. It was not good.
But I think if you do the ring fencing and you give a team or a club an opportunity for sustained presence and access to that kind of money, that they'll suck for the first couple of years.
Yep.
But I mean, hell, look at the Browns. They have a good shot at winning the division next year.
Yeah.
So it only took them 20 years since
After
they were back in
for so long.
It only takes a little bit.
Right.
But I mean, that could have happened a lot earlier.
Yes.
So you're going to bring in a club that's going to be like the league punching bag for a while. But that's why you have to look at the long view, and eventually they're going to get players. They're going to because there's a lot of talk about the how much Saracens and their whole cap space and who they're signing and all that. But there's a lot of players that are leaving clubs that have been with their club since came up through the academy. So the loyalty isn't exactly what it used to be, which I don't have too much of a problem with. So they'll get players eventually. It'll just take a couple years, but they'll get there. And to me, it's like you get that access, you build up that club, and now you're building depth for England, not just for the Premiership. So I think that you bring another club up that's going to suck for a little bit, and they kind of just deal with it.
Yep.
But we've seen players come. I mean, we're going to talk about Christian Judge, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's
From
players.
Cornish Pirates, yeah.
Cornish Pirates, and there's a couple other. I've seen a lot of the name Cornish Pirates, a lot more than I've ever seen before.
Yeah, that's true.
They've been consistently a good championship team for the past 20 years, more than that. At least since I've paid attention. At least since I lived in the UK, they've always been one of those top teams.
Okay.
So there's obviously talent development, but that's not going to translate to a promotion to the Premiership every time. But if you kind of get in, there's avenues. There's guys everywhere. It's not just the talent of the players. It's also what you can do to build up the club itself. So you give them access to that kind of money and especially that kind of ability to spend. on some players and facilities, and it'll take a bit, but they'll get there.
Right. All right. Fair enough.
It would be interesting to see if, like, Jersey, who's located on an island right by France. I'm pretty sure they train there as well. They're in the championship. Looking at a map right now, imagine if they had to like travel there to go play. That'd be hilarious.
Oh man,
I know. It's basically France. Half of the towns there are all French. Le Hoc, Plimont, pardon my accent.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, away day at Jersey. We'll see.
Would be fun.
All right. So that's everything we got. We covered a lot in less time than I was anticipating. So that's good.
Well done, boys.
Much better. We're getting. It's like we actually try this now and again. You know.
Efficient.
So email us fantasyrugbypodcast@gmail.com if you have any questions. Like I said, I'll put rankings and start sit stuff on my Twitter feed, so you can find that stuff there. iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, all that stuff. Find us, review us, download. Tell your friends to download. They don't have to listen. I don't care. Just get the downloads.
And I'd say if you're located in the New England area, get down check out the New England Free Jacks.
Oh, yeah.
I think they're newenglandfreejacks.com. They've got some incredible games coming up. Professional rugby in the New England area, playing some great Irish teams.
And support your local club rugby, like Boston Rugby.
Yeah.
Those guys are awesome.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for listening. We did get a new review, but I'll read it next time. I completely forgot about that. But thank you, everybody, for listening, and everybody have a good day and enjoy the rugby. Have a good week. Cheers.
Cheers.